Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome back to another video on the Forza GT Endurance Hopper. Really been enjoying my time in this lobby actually recently. It typically is the best one in the game and that's proving to be the case. And we're going to kick things off here at Road Atlanta. I've gone for the Lamborghini Huracan and away from the line, mid-grid or towards the back-ish. Now this is where things are going to become very Forza-y as we go forward abreast into turn 1. You see the big group ahead just bundling each other wide in an awkward looking move, and I'm immediately into 6th place. So Super GT video confirmed. Audi out of nowhere with a savage lunge, brutal, straight into the wall, and he has sent himself, he's licked the stamp and sent himself to the Shadow Realm. And I'm up into 5th. Down then to 6th, Jacob Balkett there in the Mclaren, which is going to feature later in this video. The Mclaren turns out to be actually a really good car for this division, and that's kind of unexpected because it wasn't never really on my radar, never really thought of it as a good car. Turns out that it is, and he's already on the back of this group ahead, and I've not really done anything to try to catch up. This is where this car excels though, which is really why I chose it for this back straight. You see just how quick it is as we get a bit sketchy going beyond the Aston Martin. Up into 5th, into the chicane at the end of the lap. In 5th position, the McLaren and the Nissan making some contact through the chicane. HCR Boxer just returning to the circuit, looking up the inside, not quite going to happen there. And through the final turn, the Nissan just shoving Balkett a little bit wide, but he just about recovers into turn 1, and I think there was a little bit of contact. I've not driven that the best I could. There's a big group ahead and behind. I'm kind of in the middle here, and I've just made a massive mistake through the kink, as has the Nissan and the Lamborghini, and I kind of misjudged where that tyre wall was. I was kind of busy watching that guy, and a couple of laps later I found this car really hard to drive, or I just sucked, one of the two, and that was that race. We didn't really bother with that one. We're going to move to the next one, Suzuka. I'm going to go for the big British boy, the Jaguar XK. This thing is an absolute monster in a line, and this track, well, yes, it does have lots of corners, of course, for this first sector, but then once you get out of the hairpin, there are quite a lot of long straights, and it's a similar story at turn 1. Pretty much something we've seen on repeat a million times before. Everyone's crashing, not really holding their line. You know what? I think there needs to be a guide for this. How to drive turn 1. I mean, I did actually make a guide on Forza 6, how to survive turn 1, or how to survive lap 1, I think it was called. And I think that needs to make a return for Forza 7 because it's still happening, and it happens way too much. People not really holding a line. You know, if someone's beside you, they need to hold their side of the track. You need to hold your side of the track. Not many people doing that, and it results in chaos more often than not. Once again, I find myself in 6th place. The magical attraction with Super GT in 6th is a better love story than Twilight's, of course, and it's just like the strongest magnets on earth. 6th place and myself. We've got this strong attraction. If the Porsche goes very deep up ahead, he's going to return to the circuit. He just about does that okay. Sucking forces around here, not quite as powerful as they are on Gran Turismo Sport. And again, he's all over the AstroTurf. Going to lose momentum. I'm going to go through here. This is where this car excels on the straights, towards the tail end of the lap, and of course over the main start finish line. Through 130R. Getting past 2 of the Porsches there, and up into 4th, and we have 2 more Porsches in front plus another Jaguar in the lead. How can we go about negotiating this nice little group up ahead? 9 laps to do it in, or 8 more to go from here. Down the main straight, didn't really gain too much there. I didn't really get on the power early onto that straight. So up behind the Porsche here, how can we go about getting past him? It wasn't until later in the lap that we really had a chance. So really just saving this car and just waiting for this car just to excel, which is here. I don't really need to go for some savage lunge into one of the corners, I can just wait for the straight and then just easily sail by with the superior power that the Jaguar possesses, easily up into third, into the chicane. Very difficult to get right, there's no real braking markers into that turn, and we're in okay. So now 3 becomes 2, only 2 more people here to try to pass as we end that lap. A little bit further round, lap 3 now, and things are going to get a little bit closer here as the Porsche just runs a little bit wide through the exit of Degner 1, has a poor run out of Degner 2 as a result, and I'm going to go sweeping around the outside before the hairpin, and up the inside we go. B Shadow's a little bit deep on the brakes, and that's going to give me 2nd place. Nice stuff, good progress in this race so far. This is the beginning of lap 4, you see just how close it is now, right onto the back of my fellow Jaguar user. So perhaps this is a good car to use for this circuit. You kind of have to really deal with the car through this section here. It isn't quite as good as other cars, especially the likes of the Aston Martin, real handling based cars. It's not quite going to be on their level, but then once you get onto those back straights, then you're laughing, then you're just going to be flying past everyone like they're standing still. Now this here disappointed me a little bit because it was a good challenge. I was trying to get past him, and then he just pulls over to the left hand side, then just slows down and just lets me past, and there was just no challenge there. I was kind of just hoping to just try to overtake him legit, and well, there was no challenge, just kind of pulled over, gave me the position for free, and I move into the lead. So not really much in the way of amazing action there, but by the end of the race the gap was up to near enough 1,000 feet, I think. It's just going to get over 1,000 feet as we cross the line. There it is, and we complete the race in first. A good lap time, 2:02 or mid 2:02, solid lap time for this class around this circuit, and it was the fastest car on that race. I'm going to move to a quick little episode here at Hockenheim, and driving the Corvette C7R, the modern one. Through turn 1, bit of contact, but this is just going to send us wide. Keep our foot down like an absolute extending noob. Move across a little bit, try and hold the inside line, normally safer on the inside. Tiny bit of contact into the back of the Hungarian ahead. A couple of guys on the outside making contact once again. Can we just have a clean race where people make it through turn 1? Is it possible? Maybe. We'll have a look further into the video. Let's see if that's actually going to happen ever. On the outside, into the hairpin, national version here, and got the job done against the Hungarian. Going to come back at me on the exit. But no, I've got the momentum to look up the inside then into the next turn on the brakes. Locking up a little bit as well, for good measure. I was expecting the Corvette there to come back at me. He didn't. So I'm keeping 7th. Later on in the race, this is the main episode here of this race, this is the main story. Catching up ever so slightly every lap, a little bit each lap, onto the back of ACR box. And we had a good little battle here. So into the stadium section, you see the 2 leaders not too far ahead, although they were lapping a little bit better. Looking up the inside, just kind of trying to scare them into making a mistake. I'm not going to go for the move, just make them think that I am, and maybe they'll make a mistake as a result of getting a bit scared that I'm going to lunge them out of nowhere. Go for a lunge of the century, but not quite going for it there. This is where this car did excel. I noticed that I had much better brakes than him into pretty much every turn that we were going into, and I went into turn 1 a little bit too hot, hit the apex and hit the curb and kind of hit an acceptable line, but unfortunately this tune kind of didn't really respond well to the curbs, just sending me flying, and I went up the inside again for another savage lunge. And he's going to cut me back again, and just to try and give him space again, I kind of made the mistake of going over the curb, and it unsettled the car once again, and losing the position. A little bit later into the race now, beginning of lap number 6. I'm going to try and set myself up for a move into turn 2 again, but I just messed up turn 1 unfortunately, and I was a little bit too far back. You can see here, look how much I closed up on the brakes, right onto the back of him. If I was right behind him going into the braking zone, then I probably would have been able to go through into the lead, or go ahead. I decided to go into the pit lane instead, go for an alternative strategy, and this was the result. Later, you see just how close it is. He's coming out of the pit lane. This is about 3 laps later. Just how close it is between the two of us. We were fairly evenly matched in this race. Then on the brakes, was comfortably able to get ahead. I knew that if we were going in there side by side, I would win because I had the better brakes on my car. And I go through up into what would be third by the end of the race, as you can see here, as we come around the final turn to complete the race. Not too bad a result. Might have been better, but I think the two guys ahead were definitely fast. You see the Mclaren there featuring once again, finishing second. And here it is. Not a car that I've really featured too much on this channel. It's not a car that I've been a massive fan of in this class, but it turns out that it's actually not too bad. We're going to give it a go here around Watkins Glen. First lesson, always look out for cars not moving off the line. As you can see there, the guy just was not paying attention and it caused a bit of a pile-up back there. So again, no, we can't have a clean start in this hopper, it seems. We're going to pull away though, fairly decent start into 7th/8th, challenging with this Corvette. And the Jaguar there going a little bit wide through the S's up the hill. So into 6th place again. It really is a strong love story. Myself in 6th place, find myself here once again. Coming up into the chicane, we're running the short configuration here of Watkins Glen, and a bit of awkward contact between the three of us. As I was just trying to back off a little bit early, just to really see what that Jaguar was doing, and it all came together a little bit in an unfortunate manner. Up into 5th though, as a result of all of that. And I was just going to talk there about the start. Just a quick tip really. At the start, always be ready for the car in front of you or the car in front of that to not move. It is so common on this game that the car in front of you won't move. Always plan your escape route. And normally here, if you're starting on the left hand side of the grid, which I was, normally you should go into the middle, although I think you can just about squeeze the car down the left hand side. So just always have a plan of action just in case the car in front or the car in front of that doesn't move, and you avoid lots of carnage that way. So I would say that on lap 1, I do manage to escape the carnage in most cases actually. I would say I'm not lucky, just putting myself in the right kinds of places, not really attacking too much, just trying to get through cleanly, and I think that's the correct approach to go for in this game. Just keep your nose clean and just hope that you don't get rammed off and sent to the Shadow Realm, which obviously can happen. It's very easy for someone just to miss their braking zone completely and murder you for the 10th time that day, but if you just take the safe approach more times than not, you're going to get through safely. Much better than attacking and really going for it, because that's just much more risky. You're probably going to end up crashing. So catching up with the two Audis here, I'm in 4th. Still have the Corvette behind, lurking around about 100 feet behind for most of the time. We're going to look up the inside into turn 1, going alongside with the Audi, and I just spotted the wrong brake marker. I was meant to brake on 300, which is a common braking point for turn 1 there, and I for some reason just went for 200 and just misjudged it. Went a little bit deep and the Audi takes me back. Can we retake him into the double chicane here on the back straight? Going to tuck into that slipstream, which basically does nothing on this game. I do wish that for Forza 8, I mean, to be honest, they could probably change it for this game. I don't think it would be too much of a change to implement, just to make the slipstream a little bit stronger. The sucking forces, just make them a little bit stronger, so that it would boost overtaking. It would make it a little bit easier to overtake. Sometimes, if you're evenly matched, you're just going for a hopeless lunge most of the time, or waiting for a mistake. You're never really just going for genuine, outright overtaking manoeuvres. Manoeuvres or moves. I'm trying to say both words at the same time there. And you see here, it managed to get alongside, and then we go for the move. It wasn't really a hopeless lunge. That was a good move overall, or manoeuvre. We've got a new word there. As we cross the line to begin the 5th lap, up into 3rd at this point, the leader 1,000 feet ahead, so he's managed to escape all the carnage on lap 1 and establish himself a nice margin. Later on in the race, this is a prime Forza tactic here. If you can't struggle, if you're struggling to overtake on the circuit, just do it in the pit lane, as we're going to prove in just a moment, because this lap was really difficult. I was fairly well matched with him. And sometimes it's really hard, as I said just a moment ago, it can be quite hard to overtake people on the track if you're evenly matched. So I just overtake them in the pit lane. You see that I've kind of gone inside him. I do love going inside people when I can. And on the exit, just get out ahead. So It's a really silly Forza gimmick that you can do that, but you can do that. I'll just overtake them in the pit lane. Now the race was hotting up here as we approached the tail end of it. 5 of us converging on the leader. This is lap 14 now, and it actually turned out to 4 of us. Jula DT just behind, the fastest man in Greece, is converging on our position. We have an Italian here just ahead, and we're going to look for the move. We do have the superior top end, as we're just going to go up the outside towards the chicane, so I'm going to give us too much space. And on the brakes, we're going to get the job done. Up into second, and going a little bit too deep through the chicane, and he actually comes back with a flying move to retake his position. 1 lap later, we're going to go again for our second attempt. All the time we're doing this, the leader is pulling away slightly. Into the turn, it kind of got a little bit awkward. I wanted to turn in later, he wanted to turn in earlier, and well, it didn't really work out, and I'm up into second as a result. And Julia TT goes past him too, and I think he actually crashed because he's now 400 feet behind. But this is the final lap. A barnstorming finish was kind of being set up here, as I think TM Touring was perhaps getting a little bit shaky towards these latter stages of the race, as he was very, very quick early, but then made, I think, a couple of little errors throughout the race later on. So this is the final lap here. Can we go for a last lap move to take the race victory into the chicane? Let's see how it goes. And I've turned in a little bit too late for the left hand section. I'm going to run 2 wheels over the grass and just keep my foot in a little bit too much and spin as a result. Julia DT kind of waits for me here, but I don't think that was really his fault. It's just my mistake. Kind of on the grass, kept my foot in a little bit too much, and my hands were cold. A number 1 excuse, guys. If anything, you know, you can blame anything on hands were cold. It works. Why were you speeding? Why were you going 200 miles an hour past this nursery? Hands were cold. You get away with it most times, trust me. There are the results. It was a fairly close race, very close race, especially after 20 minutes of racing. Move to Mugello, an amazing circuit. I always love it when this track comes up. Once again, starting mid-grid. Can we have a clean start? Is it going to be a reality or just a dream into turn 1? And it kind of gets, yeah, people kind of get through. Okay, there was a bit of contact, but nothing too sinister. Perhaps, although looking at the map, there is someone off the track, so I guess no. The answer is no. So we hold up behind our Italian friend, who we happen to have an incident with at Watkins Glen at the chicane. And you see, actually, it's a good race here. You see, it's settled down already. This was a good lobby, actually. Lots of good drivers in here, and most of us playing fairly. Some not so much. Maybe myself on some occasions. Sometimes deal with just, you know, when someone's on the inside, I kind of just cutting across a little bit. But on the whole, when you look at everything, I think most people here, I think it's actually a really good lobby. It's actually really fun here. As we go into the chicane, Ghost Viper on the left hand side, a little bit of contact, kind of backs up a little bit. Well, this is to be expected on lap 1. Jaguar to the left hand side, and I just about managed to get the right run around the right hand side, which gives me the inside for this turn, and just slot myself into there in 7th, and that was a good move. And I'm going to try to make some more progress now. Up the order, the leader already begins to pull away, Julia DT, and we hold up behind the BMW, looking to the right, and then I'm going to swing back to the left, kind of dummy him into going to the right hand side and opening up the inside line. Up the inside we go, a bit of contact as tries to go through the turn, and then, well, he just got very angry. He just got very angry about that and decided to ram me off. But it didn't really work. I kind of come off that one a little bit better than he did. As we go into the pit lane, we'll just take our pit stop now. Coming out in 20th, a long way off. I think our friend there did actually quit. Going past one guy, going past another. The comeback begins now. Just trying to set some good lap times as well. And eventually when people pit, as that guy did there, we'll overtake them. And this one got a little bit sketchy, got a little bit closer, wasn't quite sure where he was going. And kind of slowed down a little bit on the way out of that turn. And a little bit further on, we actually have a challenge here. So back past this Jaguar, which we battled on lap 1, lap 6 at this point. We're going to try to overhaul him for the second time in the race. Of course, we lost a lot of time there when we had that collision on lap 1 with the BMW. So now we have to get past this guy once again. So he's in the Jaguar, and we've seen from the earlier races that this is a good car in this division. And it's a fairly wide car. Mugello isn't an easy track to overtake around, I wouldn't say, because there's not really many big braking zones. A lot of the corners are kind of fairly medium speed, and you're not really braking for too long. There's a lot of flowing, it has a very flowing nature to it, and as a result there aren't really big braking zones. Of course you have turn 1 and maybe the chicane coming up just here, but there's not too many big braking zones to contend with here. So you do have to kind of be patient, wait for the opening to kind of develop, and then just take your chance when it happens to arrive. And here, just having a good exit, and not quite enough. That Jaguar with decent power, and not really able to go for the move into this turn. I'm going to go deep to try and get a better run out. And my aim here is to really go for a move into the final turn. So we have to have a good chicane here, as we do. Target that slipstream. He hasn't had the best of runs. And make the most of that slipstream, whatever amount of it there is. Up the inside we go. He's giving me the space, holding off the throttle, which is what I did against the BMW. You lift off the throttle, the car turns a little bit better. And I think maybe that BMW guy thought I was trying to brake check him or something, but I wasn't. So just about getting past this guy as he exits the pit lane and resumes the race. I'm up to 4th at this point. I suppose that isn't too bad of a recovery, and it was a fairly closely run thing until this point here. He followed me all the way on that lap. So I was thinking I really have a racing store here, but then he kind of just binned himself, and we came through to finishing 4th with a decent result in the McLaren around here. Lap times fairly comparable between the top guys in the lobby, and just to show you that this thing can really work, we'll go to Indianapolis for the last race of this video, starting just outside the top 10. Move myself to the inside, which tends to always help, especially on this corner here, and Ghost Viper out of nowhere into the side of the Porsche, up into 8th already, just really by courtesy of, and again I'll say it, just keeping your nose clean and not really risking too much, trying to position yourself in the correct kind of places, and already up into 5th. And I've not really done anything special there as I lose my wing mirror on the wall. I've not really done anything special there, just kind of been really careful and safe and clinical, put my car on the inside when I had to, and then just kind of waited for it to develop. Most people will just crash most of the time, and you just take advantage of that. And again here, just a right place at the right time to pick up the pieces from these guys who just made a bit of contact and lose a lot of time as a result. So up into 2nd already from like, I think it was like 12th or something, and it wasn't too long before we got onto the back of the leader in the Lamborghini. Looking up into the inside of this turn here, kind of opens up a lot. It's a very wide corner that. You can send up the inside fairly easily. Click the stamp, send it, job done, end of the race. We're going to win. Although Rodney behind did give us a very good run. He was about 200 feet behind for the majority of the race, so any mistake, and he would have been there to pick up my pieces. But fortunately I didn't make a big mistake. No bottle job on offer today, as I do come through to win the race with a decent lap, although Klein third was actually reeling us in a little bit at the end there, and was actually faster in the race. But it's just that clinical nature of lap 1 where kind of really excelled. But that is the end of the video. I do really hope you enjoyed it, as I've really been enjoying my experiences in this hopper recently. Let me know your thoughts on the races, let me know your thoughts on anything at all, as random as you like, type away. But that's it from me. Thank you as always for watching. I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.